My hair's intact. This thing isn't covered.
Hair's intact.
Hair's intact.
Looking swaggy.
Tits are intact.
Tits are good.
Tits are good.
Tits are good. I would tell you if the tits were bad. That's one thing that men in a respectful way don't tell people enough. When the tits are good, they're good. If they're bad, it doesn't mean they're bad tits. It just means the tits are not being unified within the outfit correctly.
I was going to say, what would make a bad tits?
Well, bad tits is like a shirt that doesn't fit the tits, right? If it's too wavy and it looks like you just put a tarp over those tits, you don't want to hide those
sloppy
titties.
You don't want sloppy titties.
Don't hide those titties. What are we doing?
Actually, this would be a great segue into the first part of this conversation. Well, before I ask him my questions, I want to tell you guys that this is a very impromptu podcast. We were supposed to plan a podcast, but I know him from Central Jersey. He called me last night and he was like, I'm visiting Philly tomorrow if you want to do the podcast tomorrow. So I normally plan out very intricate questions, but in this case, we're just going to go with the flow of what the universe is bringing us.
I normally do exactly this. I put my friends in weird predicaments where they have to scramble, and it's very selfish of me. Yeah. It's not a courteous move by any means, but I brought you some gifts. This is, do you want some NeuroGum?
Is that nicotine?
To get you locked in?
No, I don't want nicotine.
No. It's not nicotine. It might be cocaine. We're not sure. But it's what it is I don't get paid for this.
No, you know what?
I push NeuroGum on all my friends. You're locked in. You're ready to go for the day.
You're not a sponsor for NeuroGum?
I'm not a sponsor yet, but you got some L-theanine in here. It's one of the 13 amino acids.
We're not doing that. You need
a little L-theanine in your life.
I'm not doing that because I have a phobia of substance. Like I don't drink. I don't smoke weed. Okay. I don't do anything. I don't do mushrooms. When I go to concerts, I don't do those helium, whatever those, what do they call those again?
Yeah, that was a very millennial thing. I don't think, are Gen Zers doing the helium balloons still? They can't. I don't think that's in anymore.
What? They're not helium balloons. What are they called again? It's like laughing gas. But
it's laughing gas.
There's like a specific name for it when you
that was a very like late 90s, early 2000s move.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I did have a question because even though I didn't plan the questions, I do want to talk about things that are on my mind. So we were talking about tits in the beginning of the episode. As a podcaster, okay, do you think it's a net positive or net negative strategy to show your feminine assets as long as the end goal is intellectual conversation? So like, for example, or piano, like, right, I put piano videos and I'm like, all right, if I film the video in an angle that shows the assets, I tend to get more views. But is that just shooting myself in the foot in the long run because I'm attracting a fan base that's there for the ass and that's not there for the intellectual content?
Yeah, it's a great question, but you got to understand that there's going to be 60% of people that aren't paying attention to the music, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, those 60% of people wouldn't have paid attention to that video anyway, right? Okay. So expand your horizons because there's a good chance that the titty guy that doesn't have much going on upstairs outside of like, oh, tits, like the brain rewires, right? It's a good chance that the titty guy might have friends who are not titty people. They're actually just very normal human beings, and they now see someone with a lovely figure who can also play piano, doing it well, and all of a sudden you gained a fan.
That's what I'm thinking.
You use the titty guy as a Trojan horse. Yeah. Like in life, we can learn so much from the Trojan horse concept. Yeah. You Trojan horse in however you get to where you need to get to. No one's paying attention at that. Yeah. No one cares about the journey. We all want to have a great one. We all hope it's a good experience, but there's going to be some bumps along the way of the journey.
Now, I've thought of that myself because contrary to what the people probably think, I play piano barefoot in my house, and I recorded myself playing piano barefoot.
Yes, you got a couple feet, guys.
I put it on the internet, and then people think I did it on purpose. I did not do it on purpose. It was a genuine. I don't wear shoes when I'm playing piano at home. Why would I? I'm by myself. Feet people commented, and then I realized the feet people.
Nice.
If they see a bare foot, that's like seeing
they go
a bare tit.
You see a bare foot.
They probably watched it on loop, and them watching it on loop probably triggered the algorithm to send the video out to people who don't even notice my feet and just notice the piano.
I think you're breaking it down a little bit too micro. I think it's very simple. I mean, you get the right guy watching you play piano with your bare feet. That just made his whole Saturday afternoon. Yeah. I mean, that's something where he's going to put that, he's going to download that somewhere, and he's going to save that link. He's going to flag that link to go back to.
I get a lot of flags on TikTok. I get a lot of I've saved this video.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know what you're doing. I don't think I've been on your page. I would not call your page sexual in any way.
Okay, good.
That being said, you got a grown ass figure. And it's important there's no reason why that can't be part of your identity.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you happen to be an attractive human playing piano, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of, look at comedy, for example. You want to compare us to comedy? Because you are one thing I like about you, Pranzatelli, is you are a student of the arts.
Yes.
Whether you're super into one art form and maybe not as much in the next, but you want to learn more, you're a student of it.
Yes.
I respect that. If you think about it, if you translate it to comedy, the amount of attractive guys and attractive women on stage that harbor a little bit of sex appeal into their material, that's been happening for decades. That's a part of, and it's equally as important if you kind of look like a little bit of a bridge troll, but you have a funny cleft lip, or you have a funny wandering eye, you should be using that too.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, when you look funny, you're going to be funnier. Yeah. It's kind of harder to be genuinely funny if you look like someone who bullied you in high school, right? That's like the epitome, like that person's supposed to live a horrible life and not make it and peak in high school, and you find them at the dive bar somewhere still wearing the varsity jacket, still talking about the team from 06, right? But some of those people happen to be attractive, and they move on and they find themselves, and they also have the right, the same way the wandering eye guy has the right to make it a part of his act. The good looking, perfect chin structure guy.
Hey, have you heard about this Looksmaxxing trend?
Looksmaxxing?
Have you heard about that?
No.
Oh, okay. So I have to clue you in on this. So for those listening, it's okay. Have you heard of black pill culture?
Well, I've heard of red pill culture. It's called the entire Gen Z generation, taking all the progress the millennials have done. The 2-time Obama voters, right? We're trying to move things in somewhat of a genuine direction, and then all of a sudden, all these little Gen Zers started getting red pilled because they were told, a couple white kids were told online that they should feel bad about themselves, and instead of like looking into it and realizing it's just it comes with the times, they all got offended. They're like, I didn't do anything. What's so wrong?
Things have progressed to blue pill and black pill. So to clue you in on Looksmaxxing, because I want to hear your opinion on this, because this is relevant to what we're talking about with showcasing your appearance as an artist and whatnot. So black pill is an online belief system amongst the Gen Z. Did you say, are they Gen Z?
Definitely
people
Gen
in their
Z.
20s? Like people in
their 20s? Gen Z.
It's a belief system that as a young male, the number one priority to have success in the dating market is to be the most physically attractive you could possibly be, and there's nothing else you can do to outcompete that. You can't be fun. You can't just be funny.
Yeah.
And there's a whole jargon that goes with it. The funny guy's called a jester maxer. You can't just be smart. You can't just be rich. You have to be good looking. And if you're not good looking, you might as well fuck off, because you can work on your personality and your humor all you want, and you won't get very far. So Looksmaxxing is a trend where young men are doing wild things. There's a guy named Clavicular, and he's like kind of the hero of, he's not the first one who pioneered it, but he's like one of the big names now, where he's making TikTok videos of him bone smashing, where he's smashing his face with a hammer.
I did hear about this.
You have heard about this?
And what is to make himself have more stern, structured bone.
So what do you think about Looksmaxxing and the black pill philosophy?
I'm a 6'6" white dude who still has a hairline. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't help. You know, you go to the bar in your early 20s when you were single. I played college basketball, so I'm rolling deep with other dudes that are 6'8", 6'10".
Basically, your opinion's irrelevant.
The small guy in our group is 6'4". You can say my opinion's irrelevant, or you can take the opinion of a guy that went to a bar, stood along the side of the wall, and just made eye contact with people and talked to who he wanted to talk to. Because even the shorter guys back in the 2010s would assist you, because they just wanted someone. They were looking for someone to talk to, because if they were not talking to anybody to the opposite sex, that would look like they're being awkward. So they would see a tall guy and be like, "Oh man, you're really tall. How tall are you? I got a grandpa really tall. I once knew a friend who's tall." And they start talking to you, and regardless, as a tall guy, the tall privilege is you're always having conversations. And then obviously the ridiculous delusion that women put on height. It is what it is.
So you're down with the black pill philosophy?
I'm not down with the black pill philosophy. I just feel like it is a tough opinion coming from someone who definitely has some serious tall privilege.
Yeah.
And
just for reference, sitting down, he looks like he's my height because he's slouching. He probably can slouch because they say I'm sitting very erect right now because I want to look. I'm Looksmaxxing right now.
You're every time I've seen you, your posture's absurd. When you play piano, it's almost like you've worked on it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's a reason for it. I have scoliosis. So if I don't...
Okay, now I'm an asshole.
So if I don't work on my posture, I have chronic back pain. So I have to have... And I lift weights too, so I think that helps like my physique. But I have to sit upright or else I have back pain. But just so everybody knows, he is very tall. You can't tell right now, but when he walked in, I gave him a hug, and I felt like a midget next to him. You're like 6'7"?
6'6", 6'7", yeah. Your posture is out of this world. Okay, sorry about that. Didn't know that. But hey, that's a little win that comes with scoliosis. A little scoliosis win is you got one of the best postures I've seen out of any of my entertainment friends, colleagues.
A lot of people say you have great posture.
Yeah, every time you walk in a room, you're just arched up. You're perfectly straight. Like me and my wife both kind of tend to slouch a little bit. Yeah. And we both like in the morning we'll like stretch. We'll put our hands behind our back and just hold it for like 5 minutes just to like get the posture going. Yeah. And we joke with each other. We're like, oh, you're slouching. Oh, you're slouching because like it's hard. Yeah. But your posture's insane, so I'm sorry about the scoliosis.
It's okay. Another benefit, another silver lining of scoliosis is that I learned the hard lesson that our bodies are not meant to last. Like everybody else who feels good in their 20s and 30s is eventually going to hit a point where they're like, oh, I got to start going, doing my exercises. It's like, I've already learned that by the time I was in high school.
And that's, you're exercising your body in a way, you're forcing your body to keep its posture. And then, obviously, if you work out, if you lift weights a little bit, if you work your muscles, your body's going to be more resilient over time. Yeah. If you don't, if you sit back and you don't move, you sit at a desk every day and you don't lift anything, your body's going to deteriorate quicker. Yeah. I assume that same philosophy with having to have that posture is like that on steroids. I still think you should have some neurogum. I think it's going to help the back. But I mean,
how do you take this neurogum every day?
Oh yeah, I'm hooked on it. It's
what is it? Can I read? I'm going to read what's in this because you don't know what it is.
It's L-theanine, it's caffeine, it's B6, B12.
Oh, I can't have caffeine past 12 o'clock. I'll be up all night. I'm a psychopath. I go to bed like 8 p.m. And I wake up like 3:30 a.m.
Now we've met because we have a common friend who you used to be in a relationship with.
Yes.
And I could just imagine like you guys are both kind of like a version of AI. You understand that?
He loves AI.
He loves AI. But you're also like, you're like perfect posture. You're like locked in. You don't drink. You don't smoke. You don't want caffeine afternoon.
Okay.
Robbie's physically AI. But you are like an AI, like another AI add-on. Like if an AI module was going to have an add-on to enhance one side of it, you would be like the posture app for AI. You guys were, I could see why you guys initially dated because
want to know
there was some crossover there.
Do you want to know what the main breakup was though?
Is that one of you showed emotions one day? No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
We had I'm a morning person and he is a night owl.
Yeah, he is.
And we would be like, hey, want to hang out at 1 p.m.? Like, you know how I was like, hey, want to do the podcast at 3? That was like our social life. Yeah. You're not getting laid at 3 p.m. I mean, you can, but it's not good for a romantic relationship.
Two content creators are taking the time where you would be getting laid and you're making content. And then if there's time to get laid, you get laid, but that is sacrifice.
Yeah. It's just two content creators. We almost had too much in common, but the only thing we didn't have in common was that we worked opposite schedules.
It's funny. Yeah. I'm not saying you guys were right for each other in a romantic setting, but you guys have a lot in common.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We don't have to talk about that the whole show. Yeah, I just want to, listen.
Observing me and observing him in separate spaces, you're like, hey, you guys. People would say we were both weird.
Well, that's a lazy way to put you guys are both brilliant in your own ways.
Oh,
but you're both I didn't mean that as a compliment. I just mean it's actually probably incredibly demoralizing and you probably suffer in your own emotions and you're gonna live a long, miserable life. But you're brilliant in your own way and you're very tuned in on certain things about your lifestyle. Even some of the stuff you shared 10 minutes into this. It's funny. It's like to get on Robbie's schedule, he has 27 meetings a day.
Yeah.
That's a different version of that, but I get it. And you're a student of the game. Yeah. You're a musician. You poked around with comedy for a little bit.
By the way, we didn't tell them who you are. Because who can you tell the people what you are, who you are, what you do?
Yeah, my name is Sam Mushman. I'm a comedian, sommelier, educator, hospitality consultant, work with restaurant groups and hotels to help them with anything from streamlining their services, marketing, events. I do private wine events with a comedy component to it.
Yeah.
Do podcasting, all that fun stuff. Did stand up for a good 12, 14 years. Still do it off and on. So yes, there's many ways we could have crossed paths, and we did.
So, okay, I'm trying to pick a path of what we could talk about right now. Let's talk about the entrepreneurship end of things.
Yeah, sure.
You used to manage a restaurant that was not your restaurant, and then
Correct.
You decided to run your own company.
Yeah,
Why did you make that shift?
Yeah, because it gets to the point where the biggest thing is being able to be in control of your own schedule. I feel like I work more now knowing that it's kind of on me to deliver certain services for clients or whatever it is. But like, yeah, it's on you. I can pick what day I want to be more off, and I can pick what day maybe I need to lock in. Maybe have an extra piece of NeuroGum, and go in there and not knock shit out. But it's crazy because like I work more now, but I feel way more flex in my schedule. Whereas when I worked for somebody, Is it
because you like what you're doing now?
I've always liked what I was doing. I got in comedy right out of high school, and then I found wine shortly after. Mm-hmm. Got my sommelier certifications within a few years after that. I was in digital marketing during the day, and then I was doing stand up every night when I was working in the city, and then I just pivoted and just started waiting tables at a corporate steakhouse just to learn the hospitality industry once I found a love for fermented grape juice. And then as I did that for like a year or so, then started sommeliering and was a wine director with Jean Georges for a little bit, and then was a beverage director of some hotels and stuff, and always enjoyed beverage. Anything fermented beverage is super cool, and building a great food and beverage program is a passion. Talking about wine is a passion, telling jokes is a passion, right? So it's kind of all, it all works hand in hand. But now to be able to take relationships you built and offer some services to them on your own to me, fits my lifestyle. I don't think it's for everyone. To me, it used to be horrifying to think about, like, I could wake up tomorrow and lose the wrong client, and all of a sudden 50% of my income is gone.
Yep.
Done. There it goes. Boom. But I've really tried to teach myself, and I'm still not there yet, but I've tried to teach myself to take a lot of comfort in that, because in worst case, if that happens, yeah, you lose 50% of your revenue maybe overnight as a new entrepreneur, but you also open up 50% of your time.
Yeah.
What can you do with that time? Maybe you can bring on a new piece of business, then harbor it in a better way, than where you messed up the first time around. You learn from yourself and you make mistakes, and it's okay. And it's not all about the political bullshit. It's not all about making sure you're at every Zoom meeting on time and that you have all the right opinions and you're saying all the right things and you're saying, oh yeah, it's a good idea, I was kind of a part of that. And then when there was a bad idea, oh, I didn't touch any of that. But like, there's such a skill set in corporate America that AI is rapidly devastating through right now. It's fascinating to watch AI disrupt white collar corporate America. It's fascinating.
Are you afraid of AI having any impact on the business that you, and what's the business you do right now, just to like the people listening can understand?
Yeah, help streamline, consult, and build out concepts for fine dining restaurants, hotels, venues.
And do you think AI has any potential?
100%. It will with every single industry, but at the end of the day, I mean, if you're a logical thinking person, what are some skills? And this is a better conversation. I love talking about this. Like, what are some skills that robots probably won't be able to do right away? Any kind of skill work with your hands, right?
Dog walking. I started dog walking, and I guess in theory a robot could walk a dog.
Do that, but not yet. Not yet.
Yeah.
A robot is going to replace, or an AI agent is going to replace software development way quicker than it's going to replace walking the porgy that's down the hall. But at the same token, it's going to disrupt every industry. But it's fascinating to see, like, we came into a workforce 12, 15 years ago. The idea was, oh, you got to go to college, get a stable corporate job, you're set for life. That was the boomer soup that we were all fed, that like didn't really fall through. And now the best skill sets I think you could have is your personality, being able to do things with your hands, skill work, plumbers, HVAC, crazy shit like that we poo-pooed for so many years. I mean, a plumber is about to be the new lawyer, and that's a buzz thing to say. That's an ignorant buzz thing I just said to create a reaction, and that might not be true, but there is some truth behind it. The jobs on the chopping block first are things you can do behind a computer screen that basically is either assessing data, sharing data, paper pushing things, like developing software. Anything behind a screen is kind of in jeopardy. But think about when the industrial revolution happened. We didn't understand as a society back then when we were an agricultural workforce of wait, in 10 years we're going to all work in factories and assembly lines. What does that look like? This, I think, is going to be 5 times more disruptive than that, and we just don't know what new opportunities that's going to create yet. But man, at the end of the day, if you know how to fucking talk to somebody, if you know how to sell something to somebody, if you know how to do something with your hands, and if you're able to do things that involve physically moving and getting shit done, I think you're going to be okay.
I do wonder, because I make, I'd like to make money on this podcast in time. So, hey, subscribe and comment and stuff so that, get this out in the algorithm so I can make money from my podcasting. But in the meantime, I make most of my living as a piano teacher, and I can't see AI replacing that. What I could see is AI replacing the need for kids to want to learn piano. So I might have trouble getting clients.
Yeah, you got a bigger thing there. You have the idea that, correct, will AI be making its own version of music now? What it's going to do to music is interesting. I think there's something about, let's talk about the arts for a second. There's something about live music, going to see a band of human beings that are not perfect live, to play a thing they created. So there's something about seeing another human on stage with a microphone, being able to control a room of 250 people by a certain pause break and building up to a certain punchline that a robot can't replace. Yeah. The arts, I think, are going to, in a lot of ways, be okay. Yeah. And it's all about how we use the technology to harbor. If it takes over art forms like that, if it ruins things like that, if it ruins things like hospitality, where that involves human touch and breaking the fourth wall and giving an experience, if it replaces things like plumbing and HVAC, we're all fucked. Yeah, that means we're going into some sort of a post-apocalyptic type of situation where we're all being run by that's the fear of some people that work in that space. There's AI people that I love listening to conversations about that. There's a lot of fear about that these that a lot of these companies and even the CEO of Chat thinks that could be a possibility. I mean, Musk thinks that could be a possibility. Yeah. But I just don't see it. I don't see it taking out any genuine forms of providing a service that isn't middle management, white collar bullshit. Yeah. I think it's eradicating that. And there's a lot of good, I think, to that, because to aspire, it was 8 years ago, you're like, oh man, you want to get a real job like Neil. Neil sits behind that desk. Look at Neil. He sits there and he's so good at responding to emails and following up on spreadsheets. You want to be like this piece of shit over here building that skyscraper? The guy's like sitting there. He's like got 6-pack abs. He's ripped. Yeah. He's got he has your posture because he's out all day on his back. Oh, you want to be like that piece of shit? Like, no, like that's like that was a crazy thing.
It's funny you say that, because when I was in high school, I remember there was a school called Votech, which I guess most high schools have that, and it's where they sent the theoretical quote unquote bad kids, but they would go there to learn trades, like they would go there to learn plumbing. They would have the art. It's funny, maybe the Votech is everything that's going to be saved, because it was the arts.
No,
the stereotype was like, oh, these pieces of shit can't pay attention to
send
math.
That piece of shit to Votech.
They can't do math, so send the piece of shit to Votech where they could sing songs and plumb.
And right now, my Sintra AI that I pay $15 a month for can do a long division math equation better than any human being currently. It's already smarter than the smartest
When I was a
mathematician.
young woman, I was told that plumbers were losers. I went to a parade in Philly and they had the plumbers union walk by, and let me tell you, I've never seen so many hot guys. The plumbers were the hottest guys I've ever seen. And like to your point,
I think it's a good situation for you. You and a plumber, because a plumber.
I have a boyfriend now, and he's a welder. He is a but he and actually
good blue collar guy.
You know what's funny?
Let you do all the creative thinking,
yeah,
and have him just fix some shit.
Well, he's also a musician too, so it's like
there you go.
He's a good blend. But the funny thing was, me seeing the plumbers motivated me to find the welder. I was like, oh, I shouldn't be chasing artists. I should be chasing hands-on
Why
men.
would you do that?
Yeah. Because they're very attractive. Because like you said, they're physically fit and they're capable, and they're,
a welder, man. He must have the forearms of a Greek god.
He actually.
Do you have some veiny forearms?
He has pecs. He has like insane pecs. Like when I like touch his chest, I'm like, this is rock hard. I don't know. Like he's holding his hand, but funny enough, he actually believes that in time he will be replaced by robots, kind of, because they'll eventually
everything in time.
Yeah.
You talk about in time. There's going to come a day where, I mean, a lot of people are saying that the idea of needing to work is going to become another fallacy.
So then, okay, let's talk about that. Then if all the jobs are being replaced, then what's the next step? Like universal basic income?
Well, you go into a universal basic income, which is basically the beginning of some sort of a communist.
I was going to say, isn't that basically like what we?
Yeah. We'll go into that because we are such a capitalistic country that we just gave all the power to our government, and we saw this new technology, and because we're so money hungry, we want to make money on it immediately. Yeah. We didn't put any of the barricades in it. We didn't put any loopholes to how to use it yet. We're just letting it rip into shit. Where there's plenty of countries in Europe and other places where they're not on their phones as much. They're not controlled by this technology yet the way we are. They still have a culture. American culture is just make as much money as you can. Date what you said, the black pill, find break your jawbone to make it make sense, and find the tallest guy with the most broken jawbone, with the most money, with the most thing. That's American culture. We don't have a culture, right? But if you go to a lot of European countries, it's very much the same culture. It's been there for years. So like they're gonna survive this better. There'll probably be a time where it's like time to move to Switzerland or somewhere. I mean, and that's easier said than done because none of us as Americans, we're so privileged. We won't be ready for the change that comes with that either. So we might as well stay here and fight for America. You might as well fight.
Do you feel addicted to your phone? Do you feel like it has total control over you? You don't answer texts very well, so maybe not.
Yeah, well, I do that on purpose. I'm really bad with answering texts well. I'm bad with following up. I will get wrapped into some late night doom scrolling. I try to keep it to like 10, 15 minutes of the dopamine hits before I go to bed. I've really tried to not feel I need to be on TikTok. I kind of drew a line in the sand that like I'll make content when I can. I'm busy as hell. Like it's tough to find time for. I'll try to like do cool stuff with other partners and clients and maybe do more. So
you're more of an in-person creator. You're not much of an online creator these days.
Oh, I'm not that great at it. I'm just not locked in enough for it. I'm just not like I'd rather host an awesome event and like, if you get footage of it, great. And that totally hurts my following for sure as a possible, as a entertainer and future opportunities. But, at the same token, I'm just trying to find a way to, have a sustainable business and then be able to be a partner in some of these venues I'm working with. And then, there's opportunity to always do shows and do comedy. And like, I never looked at stand-up as something I wanted to do full time either. I mean, very early. And that could also, there's people I think that say that also feel like they can't do it full time. So that's like a cop-out excuse. I was always... And to that opinion, I never wanted to, I mean, I guess you could call it fear. I also kind of think there's some logic to it. I never wanted to put all my eggs in that basket. That's a bad basket to have all your eggs in. That is not a deep basket. Those eggs are going to fly right off that basket. You got to have irons in a bunch of different fires. I've always believed in that. I used to tell my comedy friends, and some of them would like look at me like I'm weird. Some of them were like, no, I get it. I used to say like, yo, the level of public speaking on steroids that we do, the level of like that muscle that we're building, you think this is the only thing we can use that muscle for? Yeah. You think just like getting booked at the top underground show and then eventually getting passed at the Cellar and then maybe getting in a couple commercials, like that all sounds great. And I got plenty of friends that have done that, and that's freaking awesome. And they're super talented, and that's great. But like, there's so much more too you can do with that general skill set, where you don't have to put all your eggs in that basket. And maybe I'm a pussy. Maybe I'm a bitch, and I didn't have the balls to put all my eggs in that basket. But I mean, when you think about it logically,
I guess
that's always been a tough one for me. Like I did comedy full time a little bit during my 20s when I was in between jobs, and I was just worrying about producing shows and getting booked on other shows, and making just enough to pay your rent and whatever apartment I was in Hoboken. And like, after like 6 months of that, like, I don't know, I didn't really wear that as a badge of honor. I was like, okay, well, it's good to know that, I can make some kind of income with this, but there's got to be more. I got to have irons in some other baskets that are more like, I mean, I know I'm also good at sales. I'm also good at other things outside of public speaking, right? And that's such a skill. You can incorporate that shit with anything else you're doing.
Do you think, like, okay, so if we get on that talk about some comedians pursuing it full time, do you think the likelihood of making financial success as a full-time comedian is just too difficult for most people? Like someone like a Mark Norman, obviously he's gonna make a lot of money. Like he's probably making a decent amount of money doing what he's doing.
Well, no, and also you have to really, out of respect to it too, though, let's like give all those people their flowers. Like, you gotta really love it,
and you gotta really hustle too.
You gotta go home every night. You gotta write for an hour or two a day.
It's a job. Yeah.
I don't do that.
So you're not one to pick one path and run with it. You kind of like
I mean, you could ask any of my closest friends in comedy, and it'd be like, yeah, you just went up there and kind of winged it again with the same material and a bunch of crowd work, and like you're not. It's like my real friends in it were like, we can tell you're not writing enough.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, I'm not writing enough. And then as I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a choice, because it's not like I'm not writing and playing video games. I'm not writing and doing all, and I'm working on other things.
So you just like the other things?
Well, I was studying to become a somm. I was working on that.
Do you maybe just like the other things better, and that's okay?
Well, I just have I enjoy having a handful of different passions. I mean, here's the thing: the first 22 years of my life was basketball. Like, I grew up, like, I played basketball in college. The whole everything about high school and grade school was about getting recruited to put a ball through a hoop so that maybe it could pay for school. And I was thankful enough where it did. So I left school without any student debt due to a game. So very thankful for that. But then that kind of ends, right? And you go into the workforce, and then like comedy kind of was that next passion that I loved as much as, hooping, basically. And then I would say those are the three main passions I've had in my life. When you also introduce the wine side of it, I love working in the wine industry, love being around that, love educating, getting young people excited about not just the wine industry, but hospitality as a whole. So there's a whole education side I enjoy. So, I coach high school basketball now, get paid this much to do it. And I just do it because it fills a void. I was out of the game for a little bit, and now to be back around, it's fun. I like to have different irons and different fires. I mean, the idea of committing all your eggs into one thing, and if it works out, that's amazing, but if it doesn't work out, it's like a little tragic. And it's also like, I looked at it like, was that the best use of my time?
Or you're asking if you're saying, is it the best use of your time to put your eggs in different baskets?
No, was it the best, like if I put all my eggs in one basket, that the best use of my time? That's how I would.
I think I guess to answer that question, that's like probably for each individual person's journey, I guess you could say. But to your point, what you said before, probably the person that just feels in their heart like a Mark Norman type, like, no, I love comedy, and correct. I don't like, that is the type of person who should pursue that path.
I remember I was before he really started blowing up, I was opening for Tim Dillon at a show out in like New Jersey somewhere, and like, I had a car, so I would drive him, and we're driving to the show. And I remember him asking me, he was just starting to like really get good, and I mean, he was always good, but like, this was probably like a year and a half before like Rogan found out about him. He started like, blowing up a little bit more. But I remember like hearing right from the horse's mouth, he's like, well, like, is this what you, like, are you really trying to do this? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm trying to, I'm like, I think this can benefit a lot of other things in my life. I enjoy doing it. But I can't say that. And I remember him being like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
And I remember, just like something certain people know.
And without a question. I remember him saying that. And it makes sense. I mean, but that's the thing, though. The thing, though, is Timmy's brilliant. And Mark's brilliant. And, you know, the next guy, Burr, and all these guys are all the ones we grew up with, being inspired by Chappelle and Ron. They're the guys are brilliant. Like, you know, you also the stars got to kind of align. You gotta be a little bit naturally brilliant and then relentless. You have to know that you're brilliant and then be relentless to not want to fail and be so tunnel vision that that's what you want to do. And anyone that's done that, man, I respect the living shit out of.
Yeah. I guess I can relate to the don't put your eggs in one basket thing, kind of, in terms of where I'm creating online content now. So in the past, I was 100%, I like YouTube. I was like you, that fuck TikTok. I have to draw the line somewhere. I like YouTube. I want to put myself out on YouTube. And lately, I've actually been kind of changing that mentality of, I hate TikTok, but if I want to be a podcaster, it would be stupid of me not to use this tool. So I've actually been like spreading my eggs in different baskets.
Oh yeah.
Like and putting a little bit on Instagram, putting
also,
on YouTube, putting on TikTok.
To this point, social media alone has, by the way, just to go back to now again, I'm giving everyone their flowers who's locked in, brilliant, all eggs in one basket, but you don't have a choice today to have your eggs in one basket. There's no one making a living just doing stand-up. And the ones doing that, also, a lot of people that have really blown up, got people that tour, people that are, you know,
even people
selling
like,
out theaters and arenas. It's because their eggs are actually stretched so thin.
They're going
they got a pod. They do other sorts of speaking events. They do stand up. They're in acting. They're doing some voiceover. They're doing. I mean, that's also what I mean. I mean, I did a little voiceover and for a while and like really enjoyed that too. And that was another way to like learn how to control my voice better, because I had to realize that, like, you know, just because you can control your voice of what Sam Mushman is, like, that doesn't mean that this Chevy commercial that needs a crusty white voice just like yours, that doesn't mean that you're still speaking in the right cadence to the character of the Chevy commercial. So kind of like learning that, that's also its own muscle, versus stand-up is about, I'm Sam Mushman on stage, but in a voiceover commercial, I'm the Uber ad guy or I'm the Chevy guy, right? So like, where technology's going, it's forcing us to need to have our eggs in a million different baskets. But I also think, man, I mean, you know, you gotta, if you really want to do performing full time, like that's your thing, you know, like you I'm not saying anything you don't know. You gotta write every day. You gotta do it every single day. You gotta get up on stage every day.
No, because a lot of I would say, like, most of my eggs are in the podcasting basket at the moment, but that doesn't mean I'm still a live performer. I don't do comedy anymore, though. To answer your question, I don't do comedy, but I'm still performing music. I'm still playing classical covers. I'm still doing like modern covers. I'm still writing original songs, and I'm still podcasting. But I would say most of my energy goes towards podcasting. And if I had to pick one of these paths, that would be my preferred path. But what I've learned from other people that I look up to is that a lot of the times they had to pivot their careers in different ways, and the thing that ends up blowing up sometimes isn't the thing they expected. So for example, there's this podcaster I've been getting really into lately called Jack Neal. Are you familiar with Jack Neal? He's a young guy, but he's really, really good.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
So I was hearing his story about how he became a successful podcaster, and his career path was crazy. He started off as a TikToker making speech videos, like because he was like a nerd in high school and did really good speeches. That blew up. He made money on TikTok. Then the next thing, he moved to LA to try to make it, but he got sucked into like the OnlyFans business, managing a girl. He like had a female friend who made exclusive content.
Yeah.
He was managing her. He made like $1 million because she blew up. But then he felt guilty and quit, and he lost all the money somehow because he was like came from a Christian family, and he still has like religious values. So he was like, I made the money, but I did it in a way that I don't feel proud of. So then he pivoted back to TikTok, and now he's like a famous YouTube podcaster. And I'm like, so the point I'm trying to make here is like to to add on to what you said, it's like he didn't just jump into YouTube. He had to go through all these career paths. And then now I'm like kind of like,
that's just good old fashioned fun.
Yeah.
That's just an American story right there. What you just said. Yeah. That's an American bio. If you said that bio and said, and by the way, he's from, he grew up in Spain. Like no one's gonna, by the way, he's French. Like no, that's an American historical but I mean, hey man, I don't. Yeah, however you want to go about making a living, it's I don't judge. I don't judge at all. I think I think it's massively important to just be surrounding yourself with doing things that you genuinely enjoy. But at the same token, you realize that even if you enjoy it, there's nights where, I mean, I love doing stand-up. I love talking about wine. I love hooping, playing ball, right? Or now coaching, right? But like there's nights where I was like, you're at some hell gig and you're like, Jesus Christ, the last thing I want to do is be here and have to try to entertain this room, and you're not feeling it. You're just like not feeling it, and you go up there and you bomb your fucking face off.
That's
and
why.
You're like, and because also in fairness, you didn't prepare yourself because you let the environment get to you because you're like, fuck this. And then I mean, the other side of it's like this whole idea of just do what you love and you'll never like work a day in your life is bullshit. Do what you love and still deal with the same adversity, but that adversity, you're going to attack it in stride because at the end of the day, you're like, this is adversity I'm taking on because I love this thing. But I'm not going to be a dumbass and say that it's never going to be all roses and all perfect just because you love the thing you're doing. I mean, every work culture, every work environment, every way you could possibly make money, there's some toxicity that comes with it. And you got to be able to fight through that.
No, I can think of several examples on the different things I'm doing. Okay, I love podcasting. Doesn't mean that I love every part of it. I hate dealing with like marketing. I hate marketing, but I love podcasting. So I have to be a marketer in order to do podcasting. I like piano and I teach piano. I don't always like teaching piano because sometimes I get kids who don't practice. And are you staring at my cat right now?
I am. Is it a he or a she?
It's a he. I have two he cats.
He's beefy.
Beefing? What does that mean?
No, he's beefy.
Oh, beefy.
He's bulky.
I think he's beefing. I'm like,
I don't want to say it's a fat cat. It's not.
He's not a fat cat because I've seen fat cats. Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a skinny cat.
He's not a skinny cat.
Let's call a spade a spade. It's not a skinny cat.
Yeah, he's beefy. Yeah, he's lurking right now because he's a scaredy cat, and right now he's opening up trust to you. He's like, all right, I'm gonna check the scene out because the automatic feeder is going off at 5:00 and I need to be ready for it. So I'm going to make sure that this tall man is safe so that I could wait for my food to go off. So he's lurking right now. He's feeling out the vibes, and I think you're passing the test because he's not leaving, and he's
when they turn their back on you, that's how they know that they trust you. But I was listening to everybody you're saying, and you're right.
I was saying with piano teaching too, it's like, yes, I love teaching piano, but to other people on the outside who are like, oh, shouldn't you be so proud of what you do? Yeah, I like teaching piano, but sometimes I get students who I don't even know why they're taking lessons. It's like they're not practicing, and it makes me hate the thing I love because I'm like, I want to like when I don't get me wrong. I have some students who love playing piano, so they come in and I'm like, all right, we're gonna work on some shit. It's like I'm living through them. Like, what is it? What do they say? What's that phrase?
Vicariously.
I'm like vicariously living through the kids, but then some kids come in and like they haven't practiced in months, and I'm just like, I hate this right now. So yeah, you're right. To your point, just because you love what you do doesn't mean it's gonna always be great.
Yeah, 100% no. And it's like, you learn that with time. The veil comes up after you've been kind of beaten up around the block a few times. And I actually, fun fact, I was like robbed at gunpoint like a couple blocks from here. I went to school in Philly.
Today?
No, when I went to
Jesus
college.
Christ.
I went to school in Philly. And right down Frankfurt, and then when it crosses over with Cotman Ave. This is the street cred I try to use to act like I belong in the conversation of being hard, right? I'm like, I am a suburban, middle upper class white boy, but hey, I was robbed at gunpoint in like 2012, definitely with most likely a BB gun, but you're not going to take that chance to call the dude out on it, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing was, I happened to have like 35 singles in my wallet. So I whipped out what looked like a wad of cash, gave it to him. I said, okay, one sec. And instead of just giving him my wallet, I went into the wallet, pulled the money out. You could tell he was a new robber too. It was it was both of our first time. It was his time robbing. It was my time being robbed. So we kind of worked together and got through it. I gave him a big wad of money. He hit me with the whole, you better give me everything you got. And I'm like, dude, you took that right out of a movie. Like, you're not ready. But, didn't want to get shot. Gave him the money. Luckily, some copolites came up around the block. He ran off, but that was scary. It's a city with no gun laws. This is a Philly type of situation. You'll get robbed at gunpoint. It's part of the Philly experience.
A lot of people. Do you like Philly?
I have a very soft place in my heart for Philly because it's where I went to school. I love it. You moved here,
so I was going to say,
what are your thoughts on your newfound home?
Despite the danger that comes with living in Philly, and there is a lot of danger that comes with living in Philly, I haven't gotten robbed at gunpoint. I can't say that. But I was mildly, when I say mildly assaulted, sexually assaulted, I mean, it's not like someone R'd me. We can't say that on YouTube or else I'll get the video taken down. It's not like someone R'd me or murdered me, but
I see what you did there.
But some dude just grabbed my butt at the train station, just out in public. Like a year and a half ago.
You just moved here, so
yeah. No, I moved here. I've been living here for almost over 2 years now. So not quite
that long.
Yeah, time's going by. So I had that happen. I've had every single one of my bikes stolen. I had my car stolen within 3 weeks of living here. So yeah, there's definitely
you got the Philly experience.
I got the Philly experience. I never was robbed. Well, I was stolen from, but not at gunpoint like that. I still love it here, and I don't know why.
It's a great city.
There's something about it that you might die every day.
I'm gonna paint the archetype of the Philly, the Irish Philly guy, right? And
I don't like them. I don't like them.
This is how it was 10 years ago. I think
them.
It's a little bit, but it's a funny uniform because you'll see it starts off. You got the baggy Phillies baseball T-shirt jersey, right? Going down, they are still wearing the low denim shorts that go down to the ankles, right? Yeah. And then there's always a real dirty pair of all white on white. They once were white on white Air Force Ones, right? Flat rim hat on the side. And then one Celtic tattoo, always on the right calf, and it has to be some sort of a Celtic kind of maybe once in a blue you get a little bit of neo-Nazi energy there, but that's a northeastern that's a North Philly white guy.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, I haven't seen that build in a lot of other places.
Yeah, no, there's definitely, I wouldn't say I like the archetype of males here because the guy I'm dating is from South Jersey. So I had to cross the border out of Philly because I did the whole dating app thing in Philly when I first got here. Okay. And
what was your dating app of choice?
Believe it or not, Tinder. Everyone
gotta go classic, People
think
if you want to get a job, you go to Wall Street, you walk around, you figure it out. If you're gonna find a mate, go to the Wall Street of dating apps.
Here's the thing. People think that Tinder is the whore app.
Not anymore. It wasn't when it started.
It's not.
Now there's kink apps, kinky BDSM apps, crazy ones.
I have a theory about what happened. So everybody decided that Hinge was the find true love app. And then I think all the whores moved to Hinge because they didn't want to seem like whores on Tinder.
And get the numbers up. Yeah.
I'm talking more of the guys, guys who are trying to play the field a bit.
Saturated the market.
They're like, shit, they know our game. Let's move somewhere else and pretend to be romance guys. And then I think what happened was, and on top of that, because Hinge, you're right, the market, whoever has the most members has more control over the users because now they're in a position where they could do that. Yeah. So if everybody's on Hinge, now Hinge has power over you, and they're not going to show you the people you like unless you pay for it. But since Tinder has a bad reputation, you can go on Tinder and they're going to show you everybody fairly.
I appreciate how you talk about everything kind of like it might be a conspiracy theory, because the reality is it might be. Yeah. And I love that you go there and you're like, wait, this is 1 second. I've been researching this. I just got 758 things to say about this because I feel like there's a bigger picture here. Yeah. I appreciate that about you. It's I do think that the dating app landscape has changed. I also think kinks have become more widely accepted. So now you're starting to see.
I think we need to bring kink shaming back.
Do you?
Yeah, because that was.
I feel the opposite.
I feel
the opposite. I think it's great.
Okay, so for example, when
let the foot guy be a foot guy.
That's fine.
Let the foot guy be a foot guy. But you probably have a perfectly nice foot, and now you could probably get $50 out of him.
I think I have my foot is. I don't know how my foot does in the foot community, but
yeah.
I have a long second toe. They call that a Roman toe.
Oh, yeah. it goes over the big toe?
Yeah.
You know, I think, though, that's a delicacy in some countries. There's countries where you would immediately be brought up to royalty with that long snaggle toe.
I should go there.
But then there's other countries where the snaggle toe would immediately have you in the villas. Immediately, you'd be down. It really all depends where you go and how their snaggle toe policy is there. Yeah. You got to look into that ahead of time.
But so we don't get off track. I do want to talk about the kink shaming stuff and why I think we need to bring kink shaming back. And then you can tell me what you think.
Let it rise.
I'll tell you why.
Blossom.
When I was on the dating apps before I met my South Jersey welder, I went on a date. I think we actually didn't go on a date. We were chatting and we were going to go on a date. And then we got to sexting and then I found out his preferences and I was like, we're not going on this date. He had a saliva fetish and everybody knows what a sloppy BJ is.
This is the current guy you're dating?
No. I'm a guy that I never went on a date with because yeah.
So he enjoys you guys spitting in each other's mouth. Feeling the saliva, swallowing
he wanted every activity to have excessive amounts of saliva, including kissing. Like he wanted to make out. And
so he was kind of drooling at you in your mouth.
We never did it. But he
probably ate the box.
He stated
pretty well. Right?
Yeah,
he made it all messy.
Not worth the payoff. Not worth the payoff.
You take a shower when you're done. For
yeah,
sure.
Like if I have to, if like we make out and he's like requesting that I just drool like a little
he just wants you to like drool like a child.
Drool like a child.
Well, that's another kink. That's a baby
strange.
kink.
I'm not into that.
So now listen, I'm not saying all of them.
That's shameful. We need to shame that.
Some kinks are dangerous.
Yeah.
There is literally a baby kink where grown men are being dressed like babies and they poop in their diapers and they get changed. Like that is one. That might be the line.
Well, that one's all right.
That one's okay. That one's. I mean, honestly, you know, the furries have grown on me. You know, there's something. I mean, if you want to walk around dressed like a squirrel, who am I to tell you not? I mean, that one is.
I respect the furries because I learned about their community out of curiosity.
Well, they hibernate for winter, so yeah, it's very stressful during the fall.
What I learned about them is that we have this idea that like they're just kinky, but they actually do everything. Like they play basketball together. They go out to eat together. They just happen to have sex too because that's what people do.
In animal costumes, 100%. Yeah. And as they should. Like that one's not that crazy. I mean, there's a whole like the big ones right now are like the dominant versus submissive kinks, the BDSM kinks. Like being like male or female, being more open of if you're naturally sexually dominant, if you're sexually submissive, and like finding that dynamic. I think the more openness to that has helped relationships because like when you keep that shit inside and you're in the dating scene and then all of a sudden you're both putting on this prototype corporate America bullshit act that like you think society's supposed to want, and then after your wedding day you're having sex your wedding night and you're like, but by the way, can you just choke me and then slap me on the cheek until I come? Like that's not something you want to find out then. You want to be talking about that weeks leading up to it. You want to be like to the point where it's like, listen, I might fuck some things up in this relationship, but if you can actually physically beat the shit out of me, two things: A, I won't do it again, but B, I'll enjoy getting reprimanded in the meantime because maybe that's your kink. And these are little kinks that like we need to be more. I mean, I actually always listen to this. Do you ever watch that stupid show with Ice-T and Coco?
No.
The two of them Ice-T of all people, he was like, when sex is great and you're on the same page with your partner, it's 20% of the relationship. When sex is not vibing and there's a disconnect there, it's 80% of the relationship. And I think that's true no matter how sexually active or inactive you are, because even sexually inactive people, to mainstream societal terms, they have sexual interactions in other ways. Maybe it doesn't mean as much penetration per se, but it could be that person could still really get off on acts of services or gifts or other things like your love language, right? Being open with what your kinks are is a way better way to explore love language.
I'm convinced. All right, I retracted my...
Foot guy's love language is to suck a snaggler toe. And if you don't know that until you're married with a kid in a condo And
I take it back.
He's sitting
I'm
there.
convinced.
He bought a mosaic. It's just one lanky toe. And the wife's like, what is that in our living room? It's like, well, you have a short toe, babe. And we never talked about this because when we were dating, I wanted to give my best foot forward, but my ex had a lovely snaggler toe. And this is a portrait of that toe that I had done. Now that's a problem.
So, okay, I retract my statement. I do think you're right. It should be a good thing to bring up these specific kinks before you get married so you know it's a compatible situation. But can we also be okay? Like, does every sexual experience has to have the kinks? Like what's so wrong with what's so wrong with just like
at the end of the day, right? Well, what I do believe is people's kinks are people's kinks. At the end of the day, the dude who wants to wear a diaper and be wiped by a grown-ass adult, right? Yeah. That person, I mean, okay, what are you going to do? You put that person in a psychiatric home? Maybe. Are you just going to arrest that person? Because that person can pretend that they're not into that their whole life. Although that person's into that.
Wait a second.
It's like you're not going to... That person even probably knows what I'm into is really fucked up.
Okay, I guess...
that person, you know...
I guess the counter argument... Okay, so now I'm retracting my retract.
The counter argument is now like when we start to get into like pedophilia and other things like that.
Right, so where do...
You start trying to call that a kink.
I said I retracted my statement, but I'm going to kind of like bring it back a little bit. Where do we draw the line of which kinks? Because here's the thing: if it's kind of like it's kind of like liberalism. If you allow a little liberalism, then like how much is
if the kink involves endangering another person in any way, I think that's the line. Where if the kink involves putting either someone that's naive or a younger person or someone. Putting a vulnerable person at risk for anything, I think that's the line. But
also, isn't a kink just kind of like an autistic obsession? If someone like has to, it's like sex has to be feet, sex has to be spitting and drooling. Yeah, like. You know what I mean? So it's like, so then, I'm kind of retracting my point. It's like, what? I don't know. This is a tough topic. It's a tough
topic. Yeah. I just think that, let's not, when you clip this out, we'll leave out the part about the baby fetish and the drooling and stuff for both of our sakes. But keep it in the full episode. Yeah. But what I would do is I think the closing argument is that there's something beautiful about sexual exploitation, not feeling shamed to be sexually explorative. But there's a line with that. And for decades, it was either you were into this thing. I mean, because you could even bring that back to gay rights. You could even say there was a time where being gay was looked at as a kink. It's not a kink, because a kink in a lot of ways is a part of who that person is, right? So I mean, if you would call if you would call someone being gay or being a lesbian a kink, that's how it was looked at for so many years, and that was that created so much. Obviously, horrible depression and other things for people that have been in the closet for centuries, right? So I was like, so it's a loaded gun.
It is a loaded gun.
It's a loaded gun, and
Yeah, there's a lot of my brain's going back and forth on that one because I'm like, okay, I see your point, and I do think these things should be discussed, but I'm like, how much is too much? You know what I mean? It's a complicated.
To bring it to a better direction is like what makes in 2026, especially like with everything. It's like I think healthy relationships are having a renaissance. I think people like younger people are really being intentional about who they're looking for, and they really believe in love, and they are looking to find their person, right? And I do think there's a genuineness about a lot of millennial couples, even some young Gen X down to Gen Z couples, that they're really looking for a partnership because they're all they got, right? The world's in a different place. Things are a little harder now. Everything's more expensive now. You need somebody in your corner. The booms, God bless the boomers, but the reality is the boomers, a lot of them married are like, all right, it's going to be my first marriage. And as I develop, I'll move into my second marriage. Because no one really needed anyone. Because there was a lot more privilege in the fact that things are going to be okay. No matter what you do. So you can go second, third, fourth marriage. The same way they're all on 27 pills. They're like, if there's a pill for it, give it to me. I'll keep fucking living. I'll ride out these last 30 years, kind of crusty. It'll be fine. I'm going to have a little crick in my back, but I'll be good.
So you actually have hope in the young people. That's good. That's good.
No, it's not hope. It's the fact that we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice but to be a couple things. We don't have a choice but to have hopefully a successful, sustainable relationship. Because again, it's like dual income households are a lot of times the only way to survive. I mean, me and my wife are dual income household. We don't have a freaking kid yet. We don't know if we're going to. We might not.
That's a very common predicament.
But we both work full time.
How old are you? Okay,
we're both 36.
We're like the same. I'm 37.
Yeah. So we both work full time, right? So there's that. There's also there's the idea that young people want to believe in love. They want to believe in being with a partner for the rest of your life because it's truly a partner. It's not this like transactional bullshit that a lot of relationships from our parents' age were that. I was fortunate enough to be not raised by one of them. My parents are very in love and happily married. So I was very lucky to have that. But you see so many of your friends and stuff, it's the absolute polar opposite. And the other side of that, the other point I wanted to make to that was, what is that going to yield? I mean, just the idea that I had another point, but it was just, I mean, that's the bigger thing I think young people are really going to lock into, is that we're all kind of in this together. We're in a very first generation, probably not going to do as well as your parents, right? What does working look like? What does success look like? What does owning real estate look like? Oh, completely different than what it was up to this point, right? There's going to be way less young people that are going to have like a real estate portfolio. A lot of them will be happy enough to own one thing. A lot of them won't own anything. And it's you got to have someone in your corner, right? You can't just get away with. So I think it's also, it's going to make a more I think self-aware and thankful generation, a less selfish generation.
On that note, I hate to cut, because this conversation could go very far, but we unfortunately squeezed this in a busy, tight schedule today, so we have to cut the conversation short. But we have it going for an hour, so we got a pretty good conversation out of this, and we're ending on a good note, saying that we need and love each other. That's good. Not you and I. Well, we love each other as friends, but
I love you.
Chat pounds. But so that's it. Pranzata Podcast episode 170. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to hit subscribe and comment on anything we talked about today. And any societal issues that you agree with, disagree with what we talked about. Do you want to tell them anything while I end the podcast?
No, Pranzizi, you're one of a kind.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And you're a hustler. And you're for what it's worth, after working with you on many occasions, you're a phenomenal pianist.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, that's it. Pranzata Podcast 170. Have a good day, guys. Bye.